Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Taurus, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. Remember, they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. Before we start, as always, I should bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So because we're kind of in one of those tween weeks, you will get a random pull this week. So what I've done is I've already shuffled the deck in the Aries read, and everybody will get their card from the top of a deck of separated majors. For your key to the week this week, you have the Judgment card, right? So it's a very beautiful deck, this one. What this suggests is this is going to be a week of changes. This is going to be a week where things really start to move for you, and actually you might be forced to take some kind of step that maybe you hadn't planned on, or maybe you hadn't decided. So the feeling that I get from this is it's almost like the universe is maneuvering you into a certain position so that you have to make certain moves. This is a week where a lot of your action steps are going to feel almost like your hand is being forced, when the truth of the matter is you're actually being guided. This is a moment where you're being called to action, but it's kind of like, the best way that I can put this is like, you know, when you see, you know, when kids are little and you say to them, you're going over there, and they kind of waddle all over the place and they dawdle and they look over here and they look over here, and in the end, you kind of have to steer them in the right direction. This is very much like that. So it's kind of like a door opens this week and the universe is pointing at it, and maybe you're still veering off course and they're like, okay, you know what? We're just going to push you in this direction. This is where you're supposed to go. If an avenue or an option or an opportunity opens up in front of you this week and you think, oh no, I'm not going to take that, but everything keeps leading you back to it, or you can't get it out of your mind, or it keeps coming up in conversation, that's the universe redirecting you to what you're supposed to be doing at this moment in time. Pay attention. All right. That being said, this is also a blast from the past card. So I would watch out for old situations that come up this week. And the reason being is those are going to be a distraction from what the universe is telling you you should actually be heading towards. So this is a week for you to really be vigilant. If you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. For your actions and options, you've got the Nine of Pentacles. I mean, are you ready to live your best life? Are you ready for the hard work to actually mean something? This week, you are going to be working very hard. You've got your nose to the grindstone. You're really putting in that work. You're really putting in those hours. There's a lot of study for a lot of you. It looks like you've either got your nose in the books, or you are working on something very much with your hands that is taking a lot of your time, effort and energy. But the results and the rewards are absolutely there. This is beautiful. The other thing as well, it looks like a lot of you are really working on your physical self. So the actions of working on your physical self is what's coming up here. It just so happens that the aesthetic is a byproduct of whatever it is that you're doing. So for some of you, maybe you're cleaning up your diet, especially when it comes to things that you know you're not supposed to eat, or things that aren't necessarily good for you. So, you know, I kind of feel like a lot of you, this is, you know, really deciding to work with your body rather than against it, which is great. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Judgment card again. So you've got a double hit of Judgment card energy. This is going to be a week where some big, profound change takes place, where some action is kind of, it's put in front of you in a way that is either loud, bold, or big enough for you to kind of say, okay, you know what, I can't ignore this. I just have to be present. I just have to kind of say, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to do, and I will just go with it as best I possibly can. What also comes to me as well is when it comes to your communications, it's likely to be through a conversation, it's likely to be through a message of some kind that sort of steers you in a certain direction. It's almost like you can't get out of this. So, you know, this is a case of just buckle up and get to it. For your, oh, come on, brain. for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, I like this because it suggests that you are getting back to the roots of what you study. This is probably a message for those of you that have been in school for a while or been at your specific subject of study for a while. It's like you're getting back to the roots of what you do. So as an example, when you start as a massage therapist, this is just an example because it's something that I've studied, you start with all the sciencey stuff and the powerhouse of the cell and all of that stuff, and it's like, okay, what does this have to do with what I actually am here to learn? But there's another way that this could show up as well. Actually, I've got a better example. I started studying astrology with the London School of Astrology. Frank Clifford was my first astro papa. Love him to bits. He was brilliant, and the whole experience there was really great. It wasn't until I started to study with a tutor Bava that my whole world kind of shifted and changed, because I was getting back to the original roots of astrology and where it came from. So for those of you that are studying, this is a really long-winded way of saying you're going back to the roots of whatever it is that you're studying, and you're getting a much deeper understanding of it for that reason. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, there are big changes coming to your work. I gotta say, it looks like possibly between 1 and 3 people are about to walk out of your job. Whether this is superiors, whether it's people that are on the same sort of professional level as you, it looks like there's going to be a lot of change that happens in a very short space of time in your workplace. And when it does, you are going to be expected to haul ass and really pick up the slack. This is probably one of the reasons that you're working really hard over the course of this week. Don't worry, the rewards will come. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, people that work for themselves, there's a clear line of sight here between where your business has been and where it actually is now. This is definitely a moment for you to give thanks. It's definitely a moment for you to acknowledge the massive amount of change that has happened in such a short space of time relatively. For a lot of you, I kind of feel like this is a moment where you're going to look at your business and say, wow, you know what, this really is overnight success. So for those of you that have been going for about 6 to 10 years, or let's say, in that bracket, this could be a landmark moment for your business. So I'm really excited for you. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, I mean, look, one way that this could show up is you start to really bring back into your life things that gave you purpose. For those of you that are looking for work, you could be reprising an old role. So something that you did previously, maybe a previous employer is getting in touch. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, for that reason, there's a strong sense here of, it's almost like you're tapping back into something that now feels more relevant than ever. And a big part of that is because of the way that it makes you feel in yourself. For your love and relations, you've got the 3 of Cups. If you're single, I would not be surprised if an old lover, an old partner from the past, somebody that you dated, potentially from your deep past, I would say up to and including the last 10 years. So, 10 years is a long time. A lot of people say like, oh, it's only 10 years. It's not that. 10 years is actually a very long time, and that's what they call overnight success in the world of business, which is interesting. But it is, there's a lot can happen in 10 years. The whole world is very different just after 3 years. So, Now, for those of you that are single, like I said, this is reconnections, reunions with old partners, old discussions, or should I say new discussions with old partners about why it didn't work. And with this 9 of Pentacles here, you're more willing to accept about you what might need to change if a reconnection were ever going to happen with this person. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is you and a partner really drilling down on what needs to change in the relationship for it to be the best that it can be. If it already feels like it is the best that it can be, this might be a time where you and a partner agree on what the next steps are. on how you step forward, on how you, maybe even not even how you step forward, but how you enhance what you have. For a select few of you, you might even decide to have more children. For your money and materials, you have the Chariot card. So look, right, you've got the Chariot, you've got a double hit of the Judgment card. Your money looks fantastic this week, but in true fashion, as it sometimes happens, you might not have the time or the scope or even the energy by the end of the week to really dig into that extra cash that's flowing in, because you're so busy. The fact that you've got this in your home and environment as well, which is part of your money and materials, not only are there big changes coming up, but there's also a lot of time spent out of or away from home this week for any number of reasons. I wouldn't be surprised as well if home is a little bit of a hub for people coming and going. And then finally, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, this week, I would really it looks like a lot of you are really chunking down on your diet. Like there's something here where you're really paying attention to the food that you eat, the way that you nourish your body or not, as the case may be, and you're really drilling down on what that looks like and how you can enhance or improve the experience because of what you ingest. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.